Facebook. We'll set up alternate links and things like that for you to make sure that you still get the information. Also know that we are also we're recording. So one way or another, we will make sure that you get this content and that you get this information. Okay. Now, kind of the way that today's going to go, we're going to go from about the time right now is 9:30 approximately Central in Austin time. We're going to go take a break around 12:30 for lunch and then come back in the afternoon and wrap. What do you think, Russ? Around 5? Is that the plan?
Yeah, 4 or 5.
4.
We said 4.
We said 4, but it might be a little closer to 5, just to make sure that you have time. And then tomorrow's going to be office hours and Q&A, where we're really going to get everything locked in. All right. So the goal for today, and really what we're setting out to accomplish, is we want all of you at home and everybody in this room to craft a pillar blog post. All right, to craft a pillar blog post. We are big believers here at Digital Marketing. The reason that I wanted Russ to talk about this is anytime I speak, anytime we do any type of advertising, everything starts with content. Everything starts with content. If you're going to be buying Facebook ads, you really need to start by having that one amazing piece of content. If you want to drive anything organic, that's going to be content. If you want to have an idea that just can spread, that people can get excited about, then that's going to start with content. But I think that there's a big misnomer out there, a big kind of belief that we certainly don't believe here, that to do content right, that means you have to blog every single day. I firmly believe that everyone is one amazing piece of content away from having that killer, amazing, fantastic campaign. One amazing piece of content away from having that breakthrough idea that does actually get out into the marketplace and differentiates you and your business and your brand. I know for us at Digital Marketer, that one amazing piece of content was our post on customer value optimization. That made all the difference in the world. That was the thing for us, that when that was out there, people said, I got it. I now understand. And it was from that one amazing piece of content that everything else that we teach has kind of attached itself to. So when we decided that we were going to do the next one, I said we have to start with showing people how to produce that pillar post, that one amazing piece of content, and there is no better person in the world to talk about this subject than our very own Director of Editorial, Mr. Russ Henberry.
Thank you for that introduction. That was absolutely awesome. So guys, I'm so excited. I've got a lot of caffeine in me already. I had a cold brew coffee this morning, and I'm pumped to talk about my favorite subject, which is content marketing. A lot of familiar faces here, so welcome to everybody back at home or in the office that's watching. So yeah, we're going to be talking about crafting a pillar blog post. And before we get started, I want to talk about Lab Elite and where Elite has kind of gone, because that's the product that you've purchased, and I want to talk about flying alone, right? If you've ever felt like when you're in business that you're kind of like flying solo and you don't have the support or a group of people. I really think, especially with this new shift that we've done with these 10-day execution cycles, Lab Elite is going to be more like flying with a group of people, right? With support from us. We've got you now in Facebook instead of Slack. Hold your applause. I know everybody loved Slack. That was my idea. Ryan fell on the sword about it and said it was his idea, but and I said, you can fall on that grenade if you want to, but the Slack group was kind of a disaster, so we moved everybody where everybody knows, right? Facebook is a much better support group. We've compressed the execution cycle. So we have execution plans in DM Lab. We have execution cycles in DM Lab Elite. These are cycles of time, 10 days, where we actually get in and implement and execute on something. And here's how it works. So we're going to start out, you're in the learn phase. So today we're going to have a workshop, and tomorrow we're going to do an office hours, and then you're going to implement. One of the things that people asked for in Lab Elite was accountability. And so we're going to be holding you accountable to actually execute on this project. Because you're going to learn, then you're going to do the work, then you're going to optimize. We're going to come back together on day 8 here and do an Elite critique, which is where we critique your work using the diagnostic tool, the blog post audit tool. and then you're going to ship. And this is where that accountability really comes in. You're going to ship. And by ship, I mean publish in this case. You are going to publish that post. You're going to put it out there in the world. And if it's not finished, the beautiful thing about digital marketing is it's not print. You can ship this and work on it later. You can put an ad out to the world and then optimize and tweak it, right? It's not like putting a print ad in a magazine where it's pretty final, right? When you write this blog post, you can improve it. And in fact, that's one of the secret sauces of a pillar post is updating and improving it. Is very, very good for your SEO. So important dates in Lab Elite for you. If you want to jot these down, at the end of this, I'm going to give you a link to the Elite calendar. It's a Google calendar. You can add it to your calendar. You can reference the calendar so you guys know what's coming up. But today is 10/24. And so from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time, Mr. Daddy KK, we are going to be doing the workshop. Tomorrow from 1 to 2 p.m. If you're here, this will just be on a webinar. So no need to come to the office for this. We're going to be doing, just like we do in Lab, we're going to do Lab Elite office hours, where I'm going to be addressing any questions that have come up from this workshop, remove any obstacles that you've encountered or anything like that. Now, in between here is where we encourage you to be in the DM Lab Elite Facebook group masterminding. Okay, Susie, our awesome community manager, is going to be pretty much smacking down anything in that Lab Elite Facebook group that's not about this execution cycle over this period of time, because we're going to be focused on that in Lab Elite. Of course, you also have access to DM Engage, where you can talk about all things digital marketing and post pictures of puppies. But in the DM Lab of Facebook, Elite Facebook group, we'll be working on, hey, here's my pillar post. What do you think? Here's my headline. Here's my hook. Here's my different parts of it. And then we're going to come back together on day 8 here on 11/1 and do the Elite critique. Okay, so I will again be live, and we will go through one of the worksheets you have there. I'll also have a digital version of it called the 10-point audit tool for a blog post, right? You're going to use that diagnostic tool to ensure that you have a good post. And not just a good post, but an excellent post. On 11/3 is ship day. So you are expected to publish this post. Now, this is that accountability piece where it's like, where's your post, right? You committed to this execution cycle. Now, of course, you're all grown-ups, so we can't force you to publish it. But one of the things you asked for was accountability in this group, and I want you to ship on this day, whether it's sort of ready or not. Here it comes. I'm putting it out to the world. I'll work on it from here if I don't feel like it's completely baked. But shipping, okay? Now, here's the Elite calendar. All of those dates I just mentioned. You can always go to bit.ly/elite-calendar, and that is case sensitive, to access the Lab Elite calendar. So bit.ly/elite calendar, and that's hyphenated. You'll have all the dates you want. Now, let's get into a couple of things I want to talk about executing. Okay, a lot of what this is about, this digital stuff, this business stuff, is digging ditches. Okay, it's about doing the work. All right, like actually implementing. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to get your axe super sharp. Okay, like you're going to have a sharp axe by the time you leave here. In terms of building a pillar post, I'm going to show you exactly how to make sure that axe is razor sharp. What I can't do is make you dig the ditch, right? So you're going to see that one of the worksheets I'm going to go through, that one of the steps on there is dig the ditch. And that means execute, do the work, right? Like take what you've planned and actually write the post. Write the email series if we're doing an execution cycle on that. Setting up Facebook ads, like building a landing page. Dig the ditch. Make the thing happen. Commit to it. So I'll be using this term, digging the ditch. This lady seems really happy about digging a ditch, does she not? The second concept I want you to understand about executing is throwing a dart. Ryan taught me this a long time ago. I would say to him things like, I don't know which direction to go with this. I don't know whether to do it this way or 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 this way. There's a million different ways we could do this, Ryan. And he would always say, I don't either. throw a dart. All right, and it's become something that is a very important part of how I work, because one of the things about digital marketers is that we all are sort of the CEOs of our roles. And you're the CEO of your role, right? Whether you're the owner of the business or you work within a business, you're the CEO of this project. And at some point, you're going to have to make a choice. You're going to have to throw a dart. I can walk you through as many exercises to try to get this to where it's supposed to be. But at the end of the day, there'll be times when you have to just throw a dart. And I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to take action, because being paralyzed is really the enemy here. So putting the post out there, that's why the ship day is there. That 10th day, ship the throw a dart and get something done, get it out there, get some data going, get some reps. All right, get some reps going and do that. So you'll hear me use this dig the ditch thing. You'll hear me say throw a dart. All right, so here's the goal of this execution cycle. We're going to write a pillar blog post that sells a product or service. So we're not going to be talking about getting lots of traffic, because I can't deposit traffic in the bank. I'm not going to be talking about getting rankings, even though there will be some SEO components and social media components. What we're going to be talking about is, how does this thing take the person from, hey, I'm reading a blog post, to, hey, I'm a customer, or I'm now attending this event, or I'm whatever you want them to do. How do we get them to take action from a piece of content? My promise to you is that I'm going to train you to do that. Okay, I'm going to train you to create this thing that is optimized to sell a product or service. I'm going to teach you everything I've ever learned about it, which is over a long period of time working on this specific idea of how does content connect. It's basically been critical to my survival as a professional to connect content marketing to money, right? To convince people like Ryan or the people at Salesforce when I worked there, at Network Solutions or Crazy Egg or wherever I've been, I've always had to battle to make people understand why content makes money, right? Because no one cares. You know, as a business owner or as somebody that's worked in business owners care about revenues and they care about costs. And if you can't tie what you're doing back to that, you're dead. And so everything I've learned about connecting content to money is what I'm here to teach you today. Your promise, should you choose to accept it, is that you're going to do everything you can to execute this training and publish this post on November 3rd. I want you to, in your head, I want you to commit to this November 3rd date. It's an important date for us in this execution cycle because it's ship day. So your promise to me is to execute and to take what I've taught you and trust the process and publish on November 3rd. And if you have to throw darts in between there to pick which way to go, if you've got to dig ditches, which you will do those things. You will go through those walls and you will get this post out there in the world. That's my sort of intro, and now let's get into the content itself. But before we do, folks watching at home, can you start just posting in to Jenna and Susie, who are so awesome and going to be monitoring things? What are you selling? What are you guys selling? So, and let's go around the room a little bit and get some idea of what you guys are selling. So Jenna, what sort of product or service are you selling? So marketing strategy, I know you're in social media marketing. You guys are in marketing. We got a lot of people in marketing here. Anybody in here selling a physical product? We got David, okay. And you're selling what?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm selling luxury down bedding.
Okay, luxury down bedding. I know you guys can't hear David at home, and I'm going to repeat a lot of these things. Luxury down bedding. You're also selling marketing services.
I am.
Melina. More marketing services here.
Yes, but it's kind of two ways because I have a client that is launching a product, so it's kind of a...
Right. And are you able to share what that product is?
Sure.
Okay.
It's an all-natural hand sanitizer that
Okay.
has eucalyptus in it, and it's from Australia. And actually, S.C. Johnson had offered to buy it, but...
SC Johnson. Okay, so she's selling an all-natural hand sanitizer for a client.
Yes.
Mo, what are you up to?
Selling an informational product. It's called Job Search Blueprint, how to get a job with a whole bunch of templates, 20 templates.
Okay, job search blueprint. Job search blueprint. So Yeah, I'll just repeat these. It would be hard to pass the mic throughout all this. So he's selling Job Search Blueprint. Roland, what are you selling?
We do marketing, but we also have clients that sell everything from heavy-duty bumpers to medical, old people stuff, like reachers and soft puller runners.
All right, so in marketing, but selling everything from medical supplies and different things like that.
Accessories, four-wheel drive stuff, yeah.
Truck accessories. Okay, cool.
Business opportunity in the janitorial industry.
Okay, business opportunity in the janitorial industry. Very, very interesting. Is this a franchise?
We avoid that word.
We avoid that word. Okay, good. Omari?
Firearms training,
Firearms training.
yeah, which will also lead to teaching other instructors that sell their training, so it's no kind of.
Okay, so firearm training. So would you consider this an information product?
Oh,
Absolutely. Okay. In person or
In person.
delivered online? So it's an in-person firearms training. Yeah.
Inbound marketing.
Inbound marketing. So sort of the HubSpot model. And what kind of clients do you work with? More on the physical product side, the service side, or is there just kind of all over?
It could be product or service. The biggest thing is somebody has a non-commodity type product, something that takes a little more education, somebody sometimes tends to be a higher ticket item.
Okay.
People are going to spend a lot of time self-educating before they act.
All right, so higher ticket items that there's a probably longer sales cycle. So he's in marketing, but selling more high ticket, more complex sales, longer sales cycles, which is going to fit very well into needing some good content marketing, obviously. What do you got some of the stuff at home or at the office? Miss Jenna?
I'm trying to turn on the mic. I got it.
I think you're on.
I am on. We have a wide range from the people
no
online.
way.
So Simon does guitar courses. Jason does real estate. Steve does SaaS with 2 A's, not 2 S's. Colleen is an image consultant. Carol does software. Strategic consulting for laser eye surgeons. A
All right,
little bit of everything.
good. And I know it'll take a second because we're actually in the future. We're like 45 seconds ahead of them. But once you get it, let's figure out what that SaaS is. And anybody that's selling a service at home or in the office, I'd love to get somebody also that's selling a service. We've got a nice smattering of groups. But I want to be talking about, this works for every type of business: software, information products, physical products, services. I want to kind of get a good smattering of that going. But as soon as you find out like what that SaaS is, and anybody that's in a service, I heard image consultant. I like that as an example too. Let's get into the value journey. Okay, so the value journey. Ryan spoke earlier about a pillar post we wrote about customer value optimization that mapped out a strategy for business online. This is the new customer value optimization system. Okay, like. This, and the problem with the CVO system that we had before, which was, essentially get traffic, offer them a lead magnet, offer them a tripwire, offer them a core offer them a profit maximizer, build follow-up and all that. That's great, and that works amazingly well. We still use that system for a lot of the things that we sell. But it doesn't fit every business model. This does. This system that I'm going to show you here is very, very applicable to anything that you're going to do, whether it's really on or offline marketing. So it starts with generating awareness for your product or service. You cannot sell somebody anything until they are first aware of you, your product, your brands, sometimes even your story. They need to know these things at this awareness stage. Then you need to do what Ryan calls turning a glance into a stare, right? So it's like, I just kind of glanced at that and I'm gone, right? And you're going to get a lot of that. But how do you try to engage people into in what you're doing, right? Get them to stop and really engage with what you're doing. Subscription is a term that you could think of the traditional digital sense of opting into an email list, right? That's a very clear subscription, right? But anything in your business where you're getting somebody to go, I'm interested, and now I've identified myself as interested, is a form of subscription. Whether they attend a webinar, right? So They then raise their hand. Anytime you can now get some personally identifiable information, and they're not a ghost, because back here they're a ghost, right? They're on your side, they're milling around, they might be reading your book, or they attended some conference that you spoke at, but you don't know who these people are that are milling around outside of whatever it is you're selling. At the subscription stage is when you get the ability to follow up. This is a critical part of the value journey. We call it the left turn. You've got to learn to make left turns with businesses. If you're in the marketing, if your marketing is your job, learning to make left turns is really an important part of your job, because this is where acquisition happens. This is where someone either subscribes or converts, right? Convert here is about ramping up that commitment, right? So that person goes from, hey, I'm just kind of subscribed, sure, I'll get your emails, or I'll connect with you here or there, or I'll attend your webinar or anything. But converting is about getting them to either give you two forms of a commitment. Commitment is about two things. I give you money or I give you time. If I don't give you money or time, I'm not committed. I don't care what it is. I mean, like you could have somebody tell you all day long, I'll buy that. I would love to buy that. That sounds fantastic. If you're selling that, I would buy that. Until you've probably had that where you're like, oh, I'm going to go build that. And you go build it, and you're like, here it is. And they're like, well, now that you're asking me for money, I'm not in. I'm out now. So time and money, this is what we're really looking for at the convert stage, is a commitment of time or money. They're going to spend more time with you, so you want to get them on a webinar where they'll sit with you for an hour live. Get them to an event, right? Or get them to buy something, and that something is usually going to be something with very low risk, very easy to understand. Because remember, they still don't know you that well here, right? So why are you making a $5,000 offer here? Why are you making that complex offer already to me here? You need to slow your roll a little bit, is what people will say to you. So making the left turn is about getting people to A, raise their hand and say, I'm willing to now get more from you. I give you permission to market to me. Conversion is about getting people to give you either time or money. And usually that, we used to call this a tripwire offer when it came to the actual physical product or service that we would sell here. We've really started to change that terminology to entry point offer, right? And you did an entire training on that in Lab Elite is available to you and archived. Ryan did a training on entry point offers that you can check out. Excitement is something that not enough attention is paid here. It's about onboarding. It's about getting little victories, right? How many of you guys have been in Lab, have received our physical kit that you get when you're a Lab member, right? It should be all of you, but if you haven't, maybe it's because you got into Lab after we started doing it. I think we sent one to everyone, but it's a physical mailer that we send people to get them excited about the product and the program. So onboarding is, for some businesses, is not something that you can ignore, right? If you're Spotify running a software program and you're not teaching people how to get started with your software, you're dead, right? If you're running Salesforce.com, where I've worked, they spend a lot of time on this stage getting people to be successful with what they did back here, right? So being very intentional about this excitement stage. Ascension is about taking somebody that is already going to, this is where we all want to live, but you can't go here to here. You can't make this jump. You can try all day long, but in our experience, that's not a sustainable model, is to go from awareness to your $5,000 thing, or awareness to your complex thing, or your high-risk thing, all right? This is what needs to happen in that sales cycle in order to get somebody primed and get your conversion rates up high enough that you really start racking up the cash. Okay, so this ladder represents all of the different things that you would sell to somebody that has gone through the awareness, engagement, subscription, conversion, excitement, right? They've done all these things with you, and now you're like, hey, come to Traffic and Conversion Summit, right? You guys are really, really, really good candidates for Traffic and Conversion Summit, which you should be at, right? And why? Because you're here, right? Like, you've gone through a lot of this stuff, okay? you're very good people to say, you know what? I'm willing to plop down $500, fly to San Diego, and give you 3 days of my time, right? But we would never go out to you when you didn't even know who Ryan was or who Digital Marketer was and just say, want to come to TNC? Some people will do that, but that's not a business model. Okay, that's not a business model. Instead, we're going to move you through a lot more of this kind of stuff before we're going to make a TNC offer, or, and so think about that in your, what does your ascension ladder look like, and understand that. And then this back end, advocacy and promotion, getting people to actually go out and become, give you the golden thing, referrals, right? Tell other people about how much you love your Yeti tumbler or whatever it is. Like, you create something that actually you have this sort of unpaid army of salespeople back here. And this is also something that was not represented by the last version of this plan. The old customer value optimization really didn't take into account this stage. Where are we living in this execution cycle? Can anybody tell me out there in the audience, where are we living in this execution cycle? Okay, we're definitely in the front end. Okay, we are in the awareness and engagement stages in this execution cycle, and a critical stage in what we're trying to do here. This is the widest possible net we want to cast out there and get as much awareness as we can. So that post, that pillar post that Ryan mentioned, has been read by over 1 million people, right, across the world, because we've done a lot of things with it. We've gotten it to rank really well, and we buy traffic to it like it's going out of style. Like, we will push people to that pillar post because we know that's the initial walk in. What the heck's this place? Wow, look at this. Oh my gosh, wow. So we're going to be working on your piece that you can go out there to the widest possible net and say, this is who we are. This is tremendous value in advance, right? And work them. So next month, I'm going to be doing a workshop called How to Get Your First 1,000 Blog Subscribers. Okay, it's the sister execution cycle to this execution cycle. It's going to take what you've done today and teach you how to generate leads from it. So, a little spoiler alert about that workshop that's going to take place, Kevin, November. Can you get the date on that? And I'll announce that. But how to get your first 1,000 blog subscribers. Spoiler alert, blog subscribers are leads. Leads are blog subscribers. It's how to take this pillar post and get them here. Start to make the left turn. November 6th is the workshop. 7th. Okay, don't use your thumb, dude. Like that. No, listen. Is this 6? Wait, what'd you do? 7. Is that a 7 or is that's better? Yeah, come on, dude. Listen, dude.
The lab calendar says 6.
The lab calendar says 6th. KK sucks at calendar. I'm going to recognize this man, actually, though. He's our director of product. His name's Kevin Kramer, and he is awesome. He is responsible for making sure all the logistics of this event go off. So I'm just up here like yammering about stuff I love. He's the one that actually made all this happen. So, but it sounds like we got a calendar error because,
I was looking at December.
oh, Jenna sucks at calendar. You're good at calendar.
I'm equally bad at calendar.
He is actually terrible at calendar. Now, so we're going to be working on this at this execution cycle. The exciting thing is what you work on today is going to be really great at driving awareness and engagement, and the next execution cycle, I'm going to teach you how to use it to generate leads. So really, really cool stuff. By the end of, by mid-November, by the time you're sitting down and having turkey, for those of you in the United States, you will have a blog post that you can use to drive awareness and engagement and subscription. All right, you will have that subscription side, which is really key. That's where, because here's the thing, and then I'll move on. Awareness and engagement. How do you monetize that? Okay, we were talking earlier about your daughter's business who's admirably built up this amazing amount of awareness and engagement. Okay, but what they're looking at now, and they're smart to be doing, is how do we make the left turn? right? How do we zip around this left turn? She's got all these people following her on Instagram and Facebook in the vegan space, right? And right now, these guys are smart, right? A lot of people would sit right here. They're called bloggers and podcasters. Okay, and it's how they identify themselves. I'm a blogger, I'm a podcaster, right? And the only way really to monetize this is advertising. Okay, you can sell. This is what the New York Times does. This is what the Washington Post does. It's a fine business model. It's a great business model. Drive tremendous awareness and engagement, get people to love what you're doing, and sell ads around the outside of it. Go out there, find advertisers. What I'm here to say is that this is not what this is about. This is about building something that can make a left turn, okay, and start to sell products or services, not advertising. Because I don't know if you've heard, but it's pretty cheap to advertise. And that's good for us, but it's not good for advertisers. Like, advertisers are suffering hardcore, especially digital advertising has, it's cheap to advertise online. And that's great for us because it helps us make left turns. We can go out there and help these people monetize and buy media from these people that are trying to monetize with this so that we can start kicking around here and making money selling products and services. Okay, so this execution cycle is not about being a publisher. This is not about becoming the next Vox Media, next Washington Post, the next Mashable. This is about learning how to sell products and services using content in the same way that Vox would use it, except we're not selling advertising. Now, you can sell advertising. Go for it. We're gonna start opening up to advertising. But it ain't a business model that we're really interested in pinning the whole digital marketer brand on. We're going to sell some ads to pick up an extra, $500,000 a month, right? Because we know we can just pick that up. We can put some of our best people on there, like people we know are awesome, and let them buy media from us. But that's not a business model we're interested in. And I would really caution you, if you're a podcaster or a blogger or whatever you're doing, you must figure out how to create an offer that can kick you past this idea of monetizing awareness and engagement. All right, so did we find out what that SaaS was? Yeah.
Was for real estate.
A SaaS for real estate. All right, is it REI Black Book? Because those guys are awesome customers of ours. But if it's not, then whoever that is awesomer. No, but I also want to recognize two people back here, Jenna and Susie, who Susie I'm sure you know, and Jenna is been Lab Elite community manager, and they're the ones back here taking questions, and they're super, super awesome people. Give them a round of applause, people. All right, so they're going to be, if you're wondering who's feeding these questions out, it is the awesome Jenna and the awesome Susie. So let's get into it. So you're going to be using, it's on your table there, you're going to be using something called the Pillar blog post builder that Mr. Taylor over here built. So beautiful. It's my idea and his beautiful design that makes the magic happen. The Pillar blog post builder worksheet is what we're going to use today to walk you through how Russ and Lindsay at Digital Marketer think about building a Pillar blog post. And it's basically going to be 12 steps, one of which is step 11, which is what I referred to earlier, dig the ditch, write the post. I can't sit there and type the post for you. What I can do is help you get to that so that your batting average is really much higher in terms of this thing actually being an ROI positive asset that you're going to sit down and build, because there's nothing worse than building something like a piece of content. Because content's hard. You have to sit down, you have to do the work, you have to dig the ditch. And if you dig it and then you go, dang, I should have dug it over there. That is really a great way to waste a lot of time and resources and run yourself out of business, right? I'm going to work on helping you get to where you're digging that ditch in the right spot, right? Like, that's it. That's the ditch. But I can't type the post for you. So step 11 is going to be a lot of go home, dig the ditch, all right? Write the post. Get back to your hotel. Get, like Dave Ramsey says, get gazelle intense on getting this execution cycle finished, right? Ryan talks about half-built bridges. Don't build a half-built bridge. Filling out this worksheet is half-built bridge. You must execute on step 11, and I can't force you to do that. I can only, I got to get Omari to get everybody to do it. He's in the military for 21 years, man. I'm telling you, I'm guessing he can make some things happen, all right? Okay, so this is a pillar post builder. Are you ready to write a pillar post? I would think you are. That was a rhetorical question. Where does this all start? So too many of our businesses are going out there and asking and proposing marriage on the first date, right? We walk into a bar, we go up to somebody and we say, hey, I'm available, you're available, we're both reasonably good-looking people. You're probably eventually going to get married. Let's just skip all that and let's just get married. It's just, this is crazy. Why would we do all that? Now that could happen for you, Matty D. He's tried it. Here's to hoping. It could happen and he's a hopeless romantic. And so that could happen for you, but it's not a dating model that I would recommend, okay? It's not a business model to go out there and try to sell your $5,000 thing or your complex thing. So what we need to learn is, where does this all begin? And it begins with the coffee. It begins with your sort of opening. It begins with, hey, let's get to know each other. Let's provide each other some value at a distance, right? Some sort of value for low risk. And so we need content. And again, you're talking to a guy who's had to defend content his entire business life, right? And let business people understand, why are the smart companies doing this? And where's the ROI? The ROI is in this first cup of coffee. It's in this, and it doesn't stop there. Even your customers will continue to consume your content well after they've already gotten married to you, right? It's that continuous flow of value, and this is where it begins. Is, let's not get married. Let's just kind of, I'll buy you a drink, or I'll get you a cup of coffee. You writing this down, Matty D? Okay. All right, so what is a pillar blog post? How is it different than any other blog post? The first thing is that it is absolutely epic. Okay, this post is epic. When you read it, you're really, it can't be boiled chicken and what everybody else wrote about that. And people are always like, well, what does that mean? How do I figure that out? I'll tell you how you figure it out. Go Google whatever it is you're writing about and read the 10 best blog posts, the ones that Google ranks in the top 10, and make something 10x more epic than that. And that's what I mean by digging a ditch. That's what I mean by saying, make it epic, make it 10x better than anything else in the top 10. I could teach you nothing else about SEO except that. Make something 10x better, and you'd be better off than 90% of the people, because they're not willing to do it. They're not willing. So there's this concept out there Mark Schaefer put out there, smart guy, love the guy, disagree with what he had to say, which is that there's this thing called content shock going on. The concept is that there's so much content being produced on the internet today. I agree with that. And there's a limited amount of time, right? Like, let's say the inventory of time that we could all spend consuming content online is X, and the amount of content being produced is Y. What his idea is that Y is becoming rapidly greater than X. That there is so much content out there that couldn't possibly even be consumed, that the return on producing content keeps dropping, right? It's like, it used to be when X was substantially higher than Y, when there was so much more time than content, it was like you could put anything out there and people would read it. Like, this is pretty good. It's okay. There's nothing else out there, right? Now there's so much out there. And I agree with his argument that there's this content shock that's already come and gone, right? We've already substantially passed the amount of content produced versus the amount of time anybody could ever have to devote to reading or watching or listening to it. What I disagree with is that what I think is still the case is that there is still a lot of room for epic stuff, okay? Like stuff that is better, stuff that is highly produced, stuff that is not boiled chicken. If you put out average stuff, you're dead. You might as well have taken that time and put together something else, like go do direct mail, or go to a conference, or go stand out in front of the supermarket and hand out flyers. Don't write content that's average when you're trying to create pillar stuff. Create stuff that's epic and 10x better, or you will get drowned in the content shock. It's just as simple as that. Here's a concept that I teach my team all the time, and that is that in baseball, there is the pitcher that can throw 85 miles per hour. That guy is everywhere. He can throw 85 miles per hour. And that guy's better than anybody else on his high school team, on his college team. He can throw strikes at 85 miles per hour. Well, let me tell you something. Major league hitters crank 85 miles per hour straight fastballs all day long. That's tiresome to them. It's that last 10 miles per hour that makes all the difference. The guy that can hit 95 can blow the ball past the hitter. The guy that can hit 100, you can't even catch, most hitters can't even catch up with that fastball. But it's insane that all that work to get to 85 miles per hour is worthless. It's literally worthless. You cannot be in the major leagues throwing straight 85 miles per hour fastballs. Now I know you can make some cases for some pitchers that can do it. But stay with me here. It's that last 10 to 15 miles per hour that pitcher can muster up that really make all the difference. It's the same thing with your pillar post. You've got to go that extra mile. And I'm going to show you something that I call the 2-hour rule later on. It's about you take a post, you're like, this is done, it's great, it's awesome. Now put 2 more hours into it. Put 2 more hours in and watch what happens to your content. All right? And I'll show you the different things that you should spend that 2 hours doing. Okay, but once you get a post to where you're like, I love this could go live, this is awesome. Now put 2 hours in it and get to 95 miles an hour. Get to 100 miles an hour with that post. So epic. Pillar posts are something that you're going to link to a lot in social and in your own and in your other posts. That's why we call them pillars. There's something that you're going to take other posts, product pages, webinars, you're going to send emails about it. You're going to link to this thing a lot. You're going to funnel people. So the post that Ryan referred to here was called How to Build an Unstoppable Business. It was, again, like Taylor, this is my idea, his design. This was Ryan's idea, my writing. Okay, 4 years ago I wrote this thing. It was epic. And we put it in the top navigation of the site. It said, start here. On our site, it says, start here. If you're new, start here. When you click on it, that's called linking to something a lot. When you give it top nav space on your site, that's linking to it a lot. We link to it in every post. We link to it in every execution plan. It needs to be something freely available and highly publicized by everything else that you do, right? Shared a lot. Share it on social. Other people are going to share it. You're going to share it. It's going to be something that is going to be even, something like if you're using like a distribution tool like Meet Edgar, for example. It's something you're going to throw a higher frequency of posting and distributing. Meet Edgar is a awesome tool that we use to just automate the distribution of content on Twitter, Facebook, some other places. So shared a lot, improved a lot. It's something you're going to update a lot. It's something, so there's this concept that Lindsay and I have been playing with for 2 years now, and this is sort of groundbreaking stuff when it comes to digital content. The concept is that you cannot produce content anymore and just produce it, set it down, and just be like, okay, now that's out there. Let's build another one. Boop, that's out there. Build another one, that's out there. The lifespan of a blog post is about 48 hours if you do nothing else. Like you're going to, let's say you send it out to your list, put it out on social. 48 hours later, that thing may as well not have been produced, right? Unless it gets picked up by search, you will watch the traffic of that post go down to 0, and that thing becomes ROI negative for you, right? It may have not even been ROI positive. But if you continue to go back to these posts, especially the ones that win, and I'll talk about what winning means, but you go back to these ones that win and you make it better. So my daughter and I are into birds. All right, I put out this bird feeder outside, and she started really liking it. She's like, look at this. when she was really little, right? She just loved all the birds. So I go out and buy this bird book from, I don't remember even who that thing's from, but they put it out every year. And when they put it out and they've got new maps in there, and they've got new full color pictures of the birds, right? And they've got all these new and improved concepts inside of that bird book. And so what does Daddy do? He buys this year's edition again. Okay? This is a pillar piece for them. They continuously update and make it better and change it and say, this is new and improved Coke, right? Like, so if you have a pillar post, it's something you don't just set it and leave it sit over there. You put it on a schedule to be improved. Spoiler alert, Google loves this. Google loves when you go in and tend to your content, when you go in and farm your content. Is that right, Lindsay? Yeah. They love when you go in. Turns out that Google's dealing with a problem. That problem is that this content shock problem we just mentioned. They're trying to sift through all this stuff. People publish stuff and then how old is the internet today, would you say? Throw it out there, 25 years old, let's say that. Is there content that hasn't been touched in 25 years sitting online that Google's got to keep coming back and looking at and crawling and indexing? And it's taking more and more of their horsepower to go through all of this garbage online. Does anybody have a part of their website that you wouldn't want people to find? It's the back room. When you have company over, you're like, throw everything back there, quick, there's people coming over, right? And so it's like, it's the back room that you don't want anybody to open the door up so you even lock it, and you're like, I don't even know if I have a key to this, but I'm locking this door so no one ever gets in here. There are parts of our sites and other sites and things out there on the internet we don't want people to see and find. Google loves when turns out we reduced the size of our site by 75% in 2016 and watched our search rankings skyrocket because we were tending to our stuff. Like, it was all old stuff. It was old stuff that it was all in the back closet back there and shoved back there, and we were like, dang, if somebody even typed something into Google and landed there, that's not good. It's like that visit is bad. It's a bad first cup of coffee. So we redirected. Don't go deleting 75% of your site. Okay, talk to me first, or hit me up and engage, and I'll talk to you about how to do that and do it SEO friendly. Okay, but reducing the size of your site, taking old posts that you're not willing to improve, that are outdated, and removing them from your site. Turns out Google loves that. They love when your site gets smaller. And there's a metric you can look at. If you're good at Google Analytics, go in, try this, okay? Go in there and figure out how many pages are on your site. Let's say it's 1,000. Now, you can set up Google Analytics. I can show you a screenshot. If you hit me up and engage, I will send you a screenshot of this report in Google Analytics that will tell you how many pages on your site in 90 days have even gotten one visit from Google. Even one visit from Google. What's it telling you? If a page has gotten 0 visits from Google, organic traffic, over the last 90 days, what's that tell you about that piece? It's probably in your back closet. It's probably in the back room. It's a piece of crap. At least in Google's eyes it is. Now run the same report and look and see how many pages on your website have gotten at least one visit from any social site. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever. What's that tell you? If you're getting zero visits from search and 0 visits from social on a page, that page either needs to be updated and republished, which I'm going to talk about more later, or it needs to be removed from the site. Clean it up. Get a big old dumpster. You know, those big dumpsters that are like, big long ones that you can use to just empty out your house. Get one of those dumpsters and put it in your front of your blog and just start throwing stuff in it, okay? Now again, don't just go deleting your pages. Hit me up first. I'll send you to a resource to talk to you about how to SEO friendly remove pages from your site. Don't go ripping pages off your site. But you do need to be doing this work from a content standpoint. You need to be updating and you need to be removing stuff, because it turns out not only is it good for your visitors, but it's also something that Google just loves it when you're actually tending to your stuff. Your pillar posts would be something that you come back to and improve often. You're going to go in there, you're going to add new maps, and new color pictures of sparrows or whatever you're going to do to your thing to make it better. A pillar post is designed to ascend the visitor. That's the next characteristic. It's designed to take somebody and ascend them, to take them to the next step. And generally that's going to be subscribe. Right? So we're going to want them to opt in for something, attend a webinar, at least go check out a more complex product, right? If you don't have anything in place for subscription and low dollar conversion, we can at least say, hey, just go check out my $5,000 thing. And you're just looking for awareness at that stage of that product. So ascension, important. Let's look at some examples of pillar blog posts. Office Vibe in the software space I've got a little content crush on these folks right now. Most people have a crush on HubSpot. I love HubSpot. I think they're awesome. But HubSpot has built HubSpot is a publisher. Like they've built a publishing arm of their business. Office Vibe is not. Office Vibe is selling software. We use it here. It's software that helps you get the vibe of the office. Great name, right? And they use content in a they don't produce a ton, right? They're not HubSpot that's publishing 3 to 5 pieces, sometimes a day, which is a lot of times it's unrealistic for most of our businesses to produce that much content and become a publisher. Office Vibe builds very intentional pieces that have high ROI, like this piece here, how to be a good leader. So if I'm a leader at this company, this is something that I'm looking for. I'm looking to become a better leader, and I'm also a good candidate for their software. Is that making sense? So this is a very intentional pillar piece on OfficeVibe.com designed to hook in people like me. Don't know who Office Vibe is yet, don't care, right? Don't know anything about Office Vibe. But I would like to become a better leader. All right, this is called casting a wide net, right? Anybody that's a leader is a good candidate for this post, and a lot of those people will be a good candidate for the software. Pat Flynn at Smart Passive Income is really good at producing content and creates pillar content very well as well. How to start an email list step by step. It's a big promise, big old promise, right? And would be attractive to anybody that's a good fit for what he sells, which is a lot of information products, events, things like that. Getting them into other content that he has. This says February 10th, 2017, which means he published that this year. He actually published this post years ago, but he's doing what I was talking about that Coke did, right? Improve it, make it better, and republish it. Right? How to start an email list step by step is another great example we'll be looking at today. Digital Marketer every year creates a post called Digital Marketer's 101 Best Email Subject Lines. Been read by hundreds of thousands of people have come into this pillar piece because they're interested in great email subject lines. And that means that if they're interested in email, they're a good fit for lab, they're a good fit for our certs, they're a good fit for T&C, they're a good fit for a lot of our stuff. So this is a big, long, crazy headline this year, but we change up this headline every year. We publish this thing every year. We publish Digital Marketer's 101 Best Email Subject Lines. And it's a great, epic resource. Gets more and more epic every year because we don't delete 2014s and 2015s and 2016s. We just keep stacking value on top. This post, I don't know how many words it is, but I'm going with 10K plus words on this page by now. Racked.com has a pillar piece called The Best Places to Shop Online. And Racked is a publisher, and they're in the clothing space, fashion. And so they just made a giant list of all the awesome places that you could shop online. And this post does very, very well for them. And again, something they update every year, or multiple times a year. I think I had her at Content and Commerce Summit, the lady that runs this site. I think she told me quarterly that they go through and update this site. Google loves that. Your Your audience loves that. All right, so again, epic, 10x better than anything else online. Linked to often, shared often, tweeted, liked, quoted, talked about at campfire, around campfires. Updated often, improved yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily. Is this a page about what's going on in Austin this weekend? Don't create a new page every time. Create the same page, keep updating that page, and just keep building that quality of sitting on that URL. All right? Make that the Wikipedia page about what's happening in Austin this weekend. So you don't create a new page, you update that same page weekly. Ascends the reader. Remember, you cannot deposit blog traffic in the bank. And if you try to talk to your clients like that, or you try to talk to yourself like that, like, ooh, yay me, like I got a bunch of traffic. Yay me, I got rankings. Who cares? This is one of the things that I've also said to my team a lot. They've come to me and said, yay, we're ranking for this. What do I always say, Matty D? You don't need to use the mic. I will repeat what you said. If you say to me, yay, we're ranking for this blog post is ranking for X, what do I say to you?
That it doesn't put put anything in the bank.
Yeah, I say, great. Are we getting any traffic off it? Are we getting any leads? Are we getting any sales? All right, because I don't care. The SEO trap, the social media trap is traffic or rankings or mentions and retweets. Those are all cute and wonderful and awesome, but they have to be a means to an end. Have to be able to take that piece and ascend that reader. All right, so why would you ever spend the effort to create one of these? One reason is because if you did nothing else but just take all the 10 posts about the topic that you're going to choose today and just create something much, much better, 10x better, the Google bot will reward you for that. Google loves really, really great stuff. They have a way of figuring it out. They know the signals. They know when something is epic, right? Google bot loves it. Your social media connections love it, right? You're going to get social shares. You're going to get search if you produce epic pillar content. But here's another thing that it does. It builds authority. All right, so if you're in the business of selling your authority, anybody in here that's an agency or a freelancer is in the business of selling their authority, pillar content's awesome for that, right? Somebody comes in and they read our post called How to Build an Unstoppable Business. We used to get comments before we closed the comments on our blog. We used to get comments like, holy crap, like that piece right there was just epic. I mean, they would use that word. And when you do that, you put your foot down and say, I'm in the authority on this subject. Now, some of you don't need that, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about a different way of handling your pillar posts when you don't need to be Cartman here. But I'll tell you that there's been a development in digital marketing over the last few years that has really helped Mr. Henneberry here to connect content to money, and that's called retargeting. So me working with Molly, for example, on let's build this piece of cheese so that you can run traffic to it, and then you can retarget anybody that visits that piece of cheese, right? So, and I hate to put it in those terms because it sounds manipulative, but this is literally, I have to bring this up, that segmentation is really the power of content today because of retargeting. So again, how do we, oh, look at that. Look at that, Lindsay. I added a little, you like that?
So fancy.
Now, remember our methods of commitment. People give you commitment when they give you time or they give you money. What do we know? Oh, I've got a quote for myself here. This is very humbling here to tell you this. What is this here? Anybody know what this is? That's a dog whistle, all right? So my friend Ralph Burns, who runs Dominate Web Media's agency and is on the perpetual traffic, uses this term all the time. I don't know if he coined it, but if he did, there you go, Ralph. That's your I'm giving you credit there, but it's an awesome term. It's called dog whistle call out. All right, so valuable content like blog posts is the easiest and cheapest, by the way to dog whistle call out a prospect. It's the easiest and cheapest way to just get a dog whistle out there. Now, Perry Marshall, another really smart article, calls this racking the shotgun. Okay, if you've ever heard this concept of you walk in a bar, the story goes that if you're going to play poker, okay, what you should do is come in the room where all the poker players are, okay, and underneath your shirt, now no one really do this, okay, I think people, the authorities might frown on this, but underneath your trench coat, you rack a shotgun. And the ones that turn around and understand that that was a shotgun, somebody just racked a shotgun, don't play poker with those people. That's the story. The same deal. The dog whistle is about blowing a whistle and saying, hey, vegans. Hey, people looking to retire. Hey, people looking for a car. Hey, people doing whatever. The easiest and cheapest way to dog whistle or rack the shotgun and get them to go, that's me, is to just produce a blog post. You've got the power of the New York Times at your fingertips here with WordPress, right? You can put out very easily, very cheaply, something that will rack the shotgun and get people to go, that's me. I am interested in growing big, luscious red tomatoes, all right? I am interested in, I have credit card debt, or my marriage is on, you get people to respond to issues that they are having, problems that they're dealing with in their mind, simply by producing a piece of content. So we're getting ready to mail, we call it mail, it's email. We're getting ready to mail, around here we call it mail. We're going to mail Digital Agency Growth Summit, which is a new event. We did it last year and we're doing it again this year. The Digital Agency Growth Summit, it's for agencies only. Now how do you do that? We have a list of almost 1 million people at Digital Marketer. How do we rack the shotgun and get just agencies to go, that's me?
Limit the amount of space.
Well, of course, and that's really good. But the way we're going to get them to raise their hand, one of the ways you could get them to raise their hand is just to put a piece of content out there. Hey, agencies, here's how to 3X your agency. Would you open that if you're not an agency? Probably not. So that's what I want you to understand is that content, and particularly pillar posts, are really, really good at racking the shotgun. Really, really good at dog whistling out whoever you want to reach with an offer. All right, so, and I want to stress this idea of cheap, that you can get lots and lots of hooks in the water with a podcast, a YouTube channel, or a blog, right? Those 3 ways are super, super cheap ways to just rapidly produce lots of content and just go, here's a hook, here's a hook, here's a hook, here's a hook, got a fish. Okay, I got somebody to buy on that hook. And you're using your blog to keep dog whistling out people until you hit that one that's like, bang, that was it, that hook, that promise, that dog whistled out exactly who I want. Now scale that, right? Scale that. Turn that into a webinar. Run traffic to that blog post. Buy traffic to that blog post. Call on other people to share it. Like, that's the one, right? So why create a piece like this? Of course you're going to get search traffic and social traffic, and that's great. You're also going to get authority if you need it and want it. But if you really get what content is today, it's about being able to dog whistle out the person you want and then retarget them. Okay? So then retarget them. You get the exact person that you want to raise their hand and hit a page. You set a pixel and you retarget. All right? So one of the follow-ups to this execution cycle, and after we do how to get your first 1,000 blog subscribers, we're going to get Molly to talk about retargeting, which will really add the teeth, the scalability to what you're going to be doing. But think about it. If all you did was just dog whistle call out the right person, get them to the page, set the pixel, and retarget, that is one of the things that has really changed the nature of my job and the importance of people like me that understand content marketing is that we can do this. And if you understand this concept, you could probably leave right now and make a hell of a lot more money with content marketing. But wait, there's more. Yeah, so I mean, what do we know about someone reading this post? Who do we dog whistling out with that post? Managers, business owners, right? This might be a little broad, like you might end up with somebody who's trying to be a Cub Scout leader or something reading that. But at the end of the day, this is designed to dog whistle out exactly who Office Vibe wants. And think about it. You're coming with the most awesome of intentions. I have a piece of content for you freely available. I'm going to buy you a drink, right? I'm going to buy you a drink. So here's how to be a good leader. You could go here, yeah, I'm going to pixel and retarget you, okay? I'm not stupid. But other than that, you can just read this post and get value. Take the value, go. It's the most beautiful way to begin a relationship in business today, and it's so cheap and so easy. What do we know about people that come and read our best email subject lines? They're looking at email. They're looking at their digital marketers. We've got to understand that this is, the people that hit this page are gold. And what if there was a way, a magic way, that even without them raising their hand, we could follow up with them? There is. It's called retargeting. And that's why retargeting is here to stay unless it gets legislated out. The smart marketers are understanding that dog whistling out plus retargeting is the front end of choice today for most smart businesses. Making content marketing not just a fluffy extra that you do, but creating at least one solid piece that you can use to dog whistle someone out is critical today. All right, so let's get into our worksheet. The first thing we're going to do is determine the goal. And before we do that, I'm also going to, pretty quick here, ask any questions about the front end of this. If you have questions about that, raise your hand at any time. I might not call on you right away, but just be like, hey. But if questions come in there, we can do those. But and what time do we have, Jenna? Pardon? 10:38. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to start out by determining the goal. So when we produce one of these kinds of pieces, you don't have to do this with everything you produce, but when you're producing one of these pillar posts, you have to write backwards. You have to figure out where you want them to go, the reader, I mean, first. Because if you don't know where you don't know what needs to set it up. All right? So the first step we're going to do here, and if, again, you've got to throw a dart here. I want you to take a pen, check mark one of these boxes. And I'm going to walk through some examples so you'll have some time to think about this. But you can use a pillar blog post to do any of these things. So you can use them to generate leads. Again, make that left turn. Subscription and conversion is these first two. Do you want to generate more leads? Do you want to acquire qualified customers? Or do you want to increase offer awareness? Okay, you can't make the post do all of those things. So I want you to pick today what you're going to make it do. Now, at the end of this step, I'm going to ask you to write the product or service that you're trying to sell. You can't sell everything that you have either. You got to select something that you want to sell. All right, what do you want to sell with this piece? And I'm going to ask you by the end of it, at the end of this step, you're going to have something written here. Sleep spray, pillow, whatever, okay? Social media. And it needs to be the thing you ultimately want to sell that will make you money. That's different from a front-end offer that you might be using for customer acquisition purposes, which what I really want is the thing that's in your ascension ladder, right? The big piece you want to sell. In your case, it's that complex piece. Yes, sir.
Well, and so I was going to tie back to that. So, I mean, you know the price of an inbound retainer.
Okay, so it's a good question. So a price of an inbound retainer for his services, let's say it's $25,000 a month. That's pretty high and complex. That's exactly what I want you to put on at the top of this page. All right, I want you to put that at the top of this page because ultimately what I want you to do is build a piece of cheese that attracts that person that will ultimately buy that. They're not going to buy it from the post. Like, to buy a $25,000 retainer from a post is insanity. If you think that that's how this is going to work, and he doesn't, he knows that there's got to be things in between. But what you want, though, is to be building something that will attract that person, right? That will buy the car, that will ultimately be the right qualified lead and front-end person. So, no, I don't want you to put front-end offers here. I want you to put back-end, expensive, the thing you'll want to sell ultimately. Eventually, I am in the business of installing air conditioners. All right, so at the top it should see HVAC installation. All right, that's what should be at the top, not some early tripwire product or service. So let's talk about these goals. Like, do you want leads for your retainer service, your HVAC service, your social media marketing business, your whatever? Do you want leads? Leads? Where's Kevin? Leads? That's from Big Lebowski. Leads? Generate qualified leads. So opting in for a lead magnet, for example, registering for a webinar, RSVPing to a live event, these kinds of things. Is that what you want this? Is that the goal of this post? Generate leads for your ultimate end game, which is, in your case, retainer. In someone else's case, it would be anything, right? High dollar consulting services. What's the complex thing that you sell as a physical product, David? Like, what's the back end monetization of your business?
It's the pillows.
Pillows. Okay, so ultimately he wants to sell pillows to people. That may not be exactly what he does initially with this post, but that's what should be at the top of his page. Acquiring qualified customers. This sounds weird. Like, isn't any customer I get qualified? Like, why do I have to qualify? And the reason I put the word qualified there is that initially, a lot of times the way we teach business and marketing is that the initial sale you make may not be profitable. And you don't want to be acquiring unprofitable customers that aren't a good fit for your ultimate services. So if you're acquiring customers for, let's say, a little splintered offer, like you're going to do an audit. Okay, so let's say it's $995 to do an audit, so it's a nice front-end offer that's not $25K retainer, it's $995 audit. Okay, so it's a much easier ask at the front end. You don't want to be doing audits for people that are not profitable, because let's say you go and spend 10 hours on those things, and you ultimately you're like, I'm not willing to do this as a business, but I am willing to do it as lead generation and as a way of acquiring front-end customers. That's what I mean when I say you want this post as a goal to acquire qualified customers, people that are willing and able to spend that $25K or buy a pillow or whatever it is you ultimately want them to do. Now, number 3 is sort of a wild card. I mean, like, you can use a blog post to just let someone know what you do. Like, it's like, this is what I do. I don't expect you to buy it right now, but don't forget, you have to generate awareness before you can generate a sale. So if you have nothing in between, you can expect your blog post to do nothing more than to just say, oh, I know what Amari does. He does firearms training. I'm not going to buy it right this second. It seems a little complex, a little risky. I'm going to need to learn more. But at least now you've got kicked past the awareness stage. So what we're going to do is look at some examples. So look at what Office Vibe is doing here, for example. In that post on how to become a good leader, you've got this opt-in, right? If you want the complete guide, downloadable and printable, click this button, and then that pops a lead form, and we're on to subscription, generating qualified leads. So Office Vibe would be checking the first box on your Pillar Post Builder sheet. Yes.
So I have a question from Blossom, and she sells baby clothing and gifts.
Yeah.
So she asked if her pillar post would be targeting pregnant moms who will benefit by buying newborn sleep sacks and swaddles, or targeting them for just clothes.
More specific than just straight up clothes. For this, you know, I would go more on the specific side. You know, if you're just like, I'm just trying to attract anybody that's interested in baby clothes and fashion and things like that, could work. But I'm going to urge her to do something a little more specific than that. So pick up more of a product line than, and I wouldn't go all the way down to, you know, this, what do they call the thing that babies wear? Onesie. Yeah, man, it's been too long. You'd have another kid. So you know, you don't want to just target people that are interested in this Cubs onesie, you know, or something like that. But you want, you know, you would want to go something more specific than just straight up clothes for babies. All right, so yes.
You're using that's exit intent, yeah?
Pardon me?
That's an exit intent pop-up that you're using there?
Okay, so this is not the question was, is this an exit intent pop? No, it's not. It's a pop that's sitting right in here that if I click that, it pops. They're probably using something like lead boxes or something like that, or opt-in. Yeah, like any one of the opt-in plugins and stuff that will pop the box when they click on it. So that's not an exit intent pop. That's a good question. So generating qualified leads. If I want this printable, this leadership guide, I go ahead and opt in, and now they have a qualified dog whistled lead. All right, somebody that responded to this hook of, hey, how do you want to know how to be a better leader? If you're like my wife is not managing a team, well, what she does, she works. She's not managing anybody. She would not respond to that hook. I would, because I am managing a team. So it's like you're dog whistling this person out, and then you're trying to make that left turn. All right. So if that's what you want to do, check mark that box. What about acquiring qualified customers? Look at what Pop Sugar is doing here to get customers from content. I tested the 7 best Fenty beauty products for skin color, so you don't have to. So they had this little thing that's where they're just like, hey, do you want to shop these products, these 7 best products? And Blossom should be taking a good look at what Pop Sugar is doing here. You know, this is really super fancy what Pop Sugar's done. This is all custom work that they've done here. But certainly you can say, hey, I tested these beauty products, and so you don't have to. And then you run them out to essentially some lower dollar entry point products, right? These aren't super, you know, $30, $20. They're not trying to go for continuity here, for example, like subscription or super high dollar stuff. They're just trying to run you out and get you started, right? Get you into a low dollar product that'll get you started in your first purchase with them. So if you're looking to sell products, okay, now it really shouldn't be this idea that you shouldn't have the idea right now that I'm going to take somebody from a blog post and turn them into a $25,000 retainer, or get them to hire me for anything complex or high dollar or anything like that. Save that for the third type of goal that your post might have, which is just to increase awareness. Here's another example, though, of number 2. So for us, this is a post on Facebook advertising, and we advertise this little EP in here, a little execution plan for $47. Learn more about the Facebook Messenger. And so we run people out of this post. We dog whistled out people interested in Facebook advertising. And then we take an ad and run them over to a sales page for an entry point product like just a little execution plan training. Okay, so at $47. This would be an example of your number 2 goal of acquiring qualified customers. Because anybody that buys this is not our business model, by the way. This is not our monetization model. This is not how we make money selling $47 stuff. We make money when we get people to buy Lab at $38 a month, or we get somebody to come to TNC, or we get somebody to buy a certification from us and get involved in some of that other stuff. This is all about acquisition of customers. You were interested in this, how about this at a small entry point? Very, very specific promise, an easy to understand product, $47. We usually actually sell these a lot of times for $7, right? Totally not profitable for us. We lose money when we sell $7 stuff, and we love it because what it does is it dog whistle calls out people and gets them to buy from us that first time. You know, we get a lot of first-time buyers on these products. So number 2 should not be about selling something where you're going to manage some profits and it's going to be super hard and complex for them to understand and all this stuff. It should be about your entry point offer that Ryan taught about before. Yeah.
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
And the first is from Demi, and it's just about sourcing the kind of material, the kind of content that your customers would like. And he asks, is a video on social media an effective way to find a strong pillar post content, like depending on like the response from customers? Is that a good temperature?
Okay, so that's a great question. I
Thermometer.
mean, anytime you find that when you produce anything, what you should be looking for is something that does 5 times better than what the average thing does. And that doesn't mean you have to measure everything. It means when you're looking at it, you're like, holy cow, look at all the comments on this Facebook Live I did. Or holy cow, look at how many views this YouTube video got. Or holy cow, look how many downloads this podcast got, or how many shares this post got. When you see that, that's a good idea. That could be a very, very good candidate for a pillar post topic. Is that the question?
Yes.
So, and we're going to get a lot more into topics when we get to step 3. But yeah, I mean, that's what we're looking for all day long. We're looking for the next big hook, right? And so we put things out there mainly, it's going to do okay. Like that does okay, that did okay, that did okay. Whoa, look at that one. Like that one really, really did well. Let's do that bigger. Let's scale that. Let's turn it into other stuff. Let's, you know, I used to have a guy who worked for me, he would call it buffalo that thing. He was, you know, because Indians use every piece of the buffalo or whatever. He would say, let's use every piece of that. Like, let's turn it into snippets that we'll put and turn into quotes and put it out on social, and let's create T&C presentations about it, and let's put it on YouTube, and let's make an infographic, and let's buffalo that thing. Yeah.
And the second question is, so is this all about the idea of splintering? So creating a blog post that's a splintered part of your offering, like your oh my gosh, Twipwire, like your Tripwire. Oh,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can't
So
talk still.
here's the thing about splintering. Okay. So splintering is a really, really amazing concept that Ryan teaches about, and what it is it's about going all the way out to where you want them to go ultimately. Your retainer, your HVAC. Like whatever your big offer, your big core offer is, and starting to say, okay, what are the little bits and pieces of that I can pull apart and start to put out on the front end so that I'm not going to them saying, hey, I know you don't know me, but how'd you like to hire me for $25,000 a month? And instead saying to them, hey, I know you don't know me, how'd you like to read this free article that I wrote on this topic that if you're ultimately a good fit way out here, it's part of that, right? So it's splintering is about taking something all the way out here that you ultimately want them to do and splintering it apart and making little smaller and smaller pieces of that deliverable that are more palatable to somebody that doesn't know who the hell you are, right? They're like, I don't know you, man. I can't spend that much with you. Like that is way too risky and complex. But if you take and let's say you're in graphic design and you build websites. Splintering out a logo design is a much small, and discounting that to a level that is insanity. If you want to see a great example of a lot of business models that are running off the splintering concept, just go to Fiverr.com. Does anybody use Fiverr? Have you ever spent $5 on anything? Hell no. You don't actually spend $5 at Fiverr. This is the thing that I'm telling you, okay? It's possible to do, but you never do it. Because what they've done is they splintered it all the way down to $5. I will create you a voiceover. It's like, oh, but do you want me to actually give that to you in MP3 or MP4 or whatever? It's like, well, yeah. It's like, well, then that's 10 more bucks. Okay, and so it's all these upsells and things like that, and they've splintered the thing down to the most base level offer. And the same thing would be true for a graphic designer who wants to splinter out and do logo design, right? Like, I'll do a logo for you for 99 bucks. And hey, by the way, I just dog whistled you out. Like, you're interested in your design right now, aren't you? Yeah. Well, I also do websites. How'd you like to just hire me to do your whole website? I'll do your brochures, and I'll do all this other stuff on the back end, right? The concept of splintering is genius and can work for many of your businesses and should be used, especially if you're in information products. God dang. Splintering is the easiest thing. Tell me about your firearms training, and I guarantee you there's 50,000 splinters inside of there about how to work a safety, how to point and aim and be true, and like whatever all the things are, how to whatever. There's a million splinters inside of information products. It doesn't work for every product though. And so the answer ultimately to this is that it depends. If splintering can work for you, it is a beautiful way, and I want to pause on this, okay, because this is important. Your funnels that you build, your marketing, has to maintain the same desired end result as you move along, okay? You cannot go to somebody and say, hey, let's say you're doing graphic design, and let's go all the way out. So ultimately you want somebody to hire you to build a brand new website for $10,000. Way too much to ask a cold prospect to do that. But if I go out to you and I say, I'm going to splinter out logo design for $99, and then I'm going to splinter from there, and I'm going to create a blog post called, and let's say I'm trying to dog whistle out people in finance, because that's what I like. I want people that are in finance to hire me to do rebuild their websites. So what I do is I build this massive pillar post about the colors that finance, because do you know, like, finance companies use a certain palette of colors generally in their logo.